voice,
have our
beautiful voices,
to share,
pray,
to learn,
teach,
to know,
to grow.
share secrets,
to love.
I want to hear stories.
I would say the main thing God's been teaching me lately is to not hold tightly to the things of this world. And I found a verse that really resonates with me through this. And it's in Matthew 6:19. It says, "Do not store up for yourself treasures on earth where moth and rust destroy and where thieves break in and steal." And I take that verse very literally. I think about my son. He's 2.5 years old. And recently I bought him some blocks. And I've been wanting to get him these blocks, so he's been playing with them nonstop for a couple weeks. This is a couple weeks ago I bought him. And for the first week, he just played with them all the time. He built his house with them and put his stuffed animals in them. Anytime he had a friend come over, they'd play blocks. So he just loved these blocks. And I've noticed that for the last week, anytime I go in his room, the blocks are stacked up against the window. They're all stacked. And if you have a 2-year-old and all the blocks are stacked and all over his room, it's pretty much a miracle. So, I noticed too on the blocks there's holes in some of them where it looks like he put a pencil in them. And, they don't look new anymore, but also he's not playing with them anymore. And I realized, he's over those toys now and he's moved on to something else. And those toys don't fulfill him anymore the way they did, the first week or so he had them. And I think that's how it is with worldly things, with cars and with clothes. We get them and we're so excited, and then they no longer fulfill us. They weren't created to fulfill us. And I think that's what brings me to the other part of this verse. It says in verse 20 and 21, it says, "But store up for yourself treasures in heaven, where moth and rust do not destroy, where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also." And I think God's really teaching me that I need to have an eternal perspective, because the things of this world are never going to fulfill me, and God will. And having that eternal perspective, finding out what really matters, what matters to God and what He wants with my life, for me, those are different things. Relationships, building relationships, fellowshipping, through other believers and going to small group. Also being a light to others and showing them who Christ is. And those are very different things from the world. Bearing fruit and just being fruitful, loving people and having compassion for them. So I think that kind of sums up what God's been teaching me lately, to just not hold tightly to the things of this world, but having an eternal perspective.